Welcome to How to Retire on Time, a show that answers your questions about all things retirement. My name is Mike Decker. I'm a licensed financial advisor who can even file your taxes. Now, that said, please remember this is just a show. I'm not giving you financial advice. Everything you hear should be considered, informational. With me is my esteemed colleague, Mr. David Franson. David, thanks for being here.
Yep, glad to be here.
David's going to read your questions, and I'm going to do my best to answer them. You can text your questions in right now to 913-363-1234. That number one more time, 913-363-1234. Let's dive in.
Hey, Mike, should I be buying and holding stocks or investing in cheap S&P 500 ETFs like SPY and VOO for the long term?
I don't know. And the reason why I'm so transparent about that is that they don't say what their age is, do they?
No. Yeah, this person could be like 30 or they could be 60.
They could be 80. What is your plan? What are the strategies you're trying to implement? And then what are the investments or products that you need to invest in to fulfill that plan? So there's a problem out there right now that we just assume, the S&P 500, the best thing since sliced bread. SPY, VOO are two ETFs, exchange traded funds, low cost. You can buy in there. You got exposure to 500 stocks. I mean, it's like all over TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's, this is the only thing you need to do and you're good to go. It's a good starting place for a portfolio, in my opinion. But you're taking risk. And these are large cap stocks, so large companies. Those are not always the highest producing. They've done well. They're probably among the better asset classes. But what do you want your money to do for you? If it's just to grow, that might be a good option for a simple plan.
So if you're like
a simple portfolio,
you're out of college, you're sort of in your first career, and you have an opportunity to put your salary deferral into SPY.
Yeah, that's a good starting point to consider. But if you're retired, that's a lot of risk. I mean, I think about like 2008, the market was down. If you include the first couple of months of 2009, it was down 50%.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you want to put out all of your assets or most of your assets in something that can be down 50%? Because if it's down 50%, it requires a 100% return to break even. Maybe it's a 3-year stretch. So 2000 to 01 and 02, that was down 50% over 3 years. So not only was it painful, but it was drawn out for such a long period of time. So generally speaking, going all in on one or two ETFs, not a good idea, in my opinion. Pretty adamant about the opinion.
Yeah.
But this do-it-yourself, I just buy the S&P 500 and financial advisors are dumb. I get why people say that. Frankly, it's because I think many people have been sold something they didn't understand and expectations weren't met. I think that there's been a lot of salesmanship and a lot less consulting in this industry. So according to the Gallup report, financial advisors, brokers, insurance agents, they're like down in the top 10 most distrusted.
Really?
And there's a reason for that. You set expectations, they may not be communicated well, people may not understand what they're buying, and then they're disenchanted. So for example, many people over the past couple of years, specifically the last year, have become disenchanted with their advisor because they're saying, I didn't know bond funds could lose money. I thought bonds were safe. Bonds are safe. Bond funds are not. Well, no one explained that to me. That's breaking trust. When we opt into oversimplified, overgeneralized, traditional stuff that's just maybe not catered to the person, it's easy to have expectations not met. So I understand why people are looking for a way to do it themselves. But just because there may be a few bad experiences or oversimplified experiences doesn't mean that it's all that way. Understanding what you're signing up for is probably one of the most important things a financial professional can do for someone, whether it's a one-time consultation, analysis, or optimization report, a one-time plan. But setting expectations is a very important thing. You could say, I just want to grow. This is for legacy purposes. Let's assume it's a retiree and they want to grow. Well, maybe that's enough risk. Maybe they want more risk. Maybe they want to do the S&P 500 and 10 more stocks or 5 more stocks, which would increase their growth potential. It would also increase their risk, but maybe that's what's right for them. Maybe it's too much of a roller coaster, and maybe they should do something like, buffered ETFs or something else to just kind of level things out a little bit. Is this making sense?
Yeah, I think so. It depends on everyone's particular situation. And so if you're young and you have many years ahead of you, lots of runway, so to speak, you have time to grow.
You got time to recover.
If it goes down, you got time to recover. If you're older and you're already retired, there might still be potentially a place for something like these SPY, VOO in your portfolio, but it might not be the whole thing, right?
Yeah, it's a part of an overall portfolio, but your portfolio should not dictate your plan. Plan dictates your portfolio. One of our rules here when we build a plan is that we diversify our assets by objectives. So let's say you've got 20% of your portfolio. What's the objective here? Is it to pay income for these certain years? If that's the case, and there are early years in your plan, then those ETFs probably not a good fit. But if 20% of your portfolio you don't need to touch for 20 years and you know that, then maybe it is appropriate for that specific objective.
Yeah, I like that.
So again, plan, explore your efficiencies, and then it just, S&P is a roller coaster. You got to understand that and the risks associated with it. For everyone listening right now, if you're going, maybe I'm taking too much risk, I've got too much in equities. I have been listening to TikTokers. I am mostly in SPY or in the S&P 500. Maybe you're starting to realize that you're taking too much risk. Please call us. Whether you work with us or not, that's fine. You don't have to work with us. But our offer here, the Your Wealth analysis that we do at no cost, can really sober you up. And I mean that sincerely. When I think of my why or why I do this, big reason for it is I was kind of raised by my grandparents. I don't know if we've ever talked about this.
I think you mentioned them in your book. A little plug there for how to retire on time.
Yeah, the original copy.
Oh, okay, yes.
I shortened it in the newest edition. But I was raised by my grandparents. My grandma was a teacher. She taught English. And my grandpa was a Boeing engineer. Okay, both had great jobs. They retired on pensions back when pensions were a thing. And Social Security, they had assets in the market just for the extra stuff. When my parents divorced, we moved in with my grandparents. You know, the fact that they were there and they went through the dot-com crash, no problem. They went through 2008. It was all fine to them. They had a proper built plan. Granted, it was mostly pensions, but you can still create good plans. They can sail through these market things. That's why I'm concerned about these people doing these oversimplified, reaching for the stars growth strategy without realizing the risk. The past 15 years of growth are unrealistic expectations that have now been set. And there could be a very harrowing wake-up call for those who don't understand the risks they're taking with going all in on one or two ETFs like this. That's all the time we've got for the show today. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing to it wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for How to Retire on Time. Discover if your portfolio is built to weather flat market cycles or if you're missing tax minimization opportunities that you may not even know exist. Explore strategies that may be able to help you lower your overall risk while potentially increasing your overall growth and lifestyle flexibility. This is not your ordinary financial analysis. Learn more about Your Wealth analysis and what it could do for you regardless of your age, asset, or target retirement date. Go to www.yourwealthanalysis.com today to learn more and get started.